What if the 10 plagues weren't random disasters, but precise strikes at the heart of an empire? Imagine a power that claims the river, the sun, the winds, the harvests, and even the royal bloodline are under its control. Now imagine each one of those pillars challenged, one by one, in a sequence that turns Egypt's certainty into fear and fear into surrender. In the next few minutes, we'll walk through the 10 plagues and ask a simple, unsettling question. What did each one target? Nature, economy, daily life, and the gods Egypt trusted most. Before anything else, picture the Nile, blue, steady, the aorta of a civilization. Fishermen cast their nets, priests bless its rising, farmers wait on its rhythm. Then comes the first strike. The river turns to blood. Fish float to the surface. Water stinks in the heat. People dig along the banks for something drinkable, but the message is already clear. Plague 1 targets Egypt's lifeline. It bleeds the nation's confidence. It undercuts food, transport, and trade. And it shames the gods of the river, the one said to guard its source, nourish its flow, and pulse Egypt's heart. When your aorta clots, everything pulsates with panic. No relief, no reset. The land erupts with frogs. At first it seems laughable. Frogs are harmless, but now they are everywhere. In courtyards and bedrooms, inside ovens and bowls. The croaking drowns sleep, the slime defiles meals. The sacred symbol becomes a suffocating nuisance. This is not a random frog boom. It is a bullhorn blaring inside daily life. Your home is not safe. Your rituals are not pure. Your fertility goddess can't call her creatures back. Plague 2 targets the private spaces where dignity usually hides. It turns a venerated icon into an unbearable presence until the pleas for relief become louder than the prayers to old gods. Dust hangs in the air. You rub your face and scratch your arms. Then the scratching doesn't stop. Gnats or lice rise from the dust and cover people and animals. Every movement itches. Every breath feels dirty. Priests who wash and purify cannot keep themselves clean. Magicians try their tricks and fail. They admit this is beyond them. Plague 3 targets purity, the daily fabric of worship and work. The earth itself, once a stable foundation, becomes a source of irritation. The message is microscopic, but it is mighty. When the ground under you is compromised, your ceremonies ring hollow. Your elite cannot stand. Your experts fold. The swarms arrive, call them flies or biting insects or a churning mix of terror. They come in bands that can be seen like shadows moving over light. But there's a twist. One region is spared. Where the Hebrews live, the swarms do not swarm. This is a surgical strike. Plague 4 targets Egypt's illusion of universality, the idea that the empire defines reality for everyone. Now there is a line in the dust. Egypt is exposed. Israel is sheltered. The economy stalls as shops close and food spoils. The psyche cracks as people whisper that someone else's God can draw borders no Pharaoh can erase. By morning, the fields are quiet in a new way. Horses wheeze, donkeys collapse, camels kneel and cannot rise. Herds go still. The smell of livestock lingers, not as life, but as loss. Plague 5 targets wealth and wheels, the power to plow and pull and ride and conquer. It hits meat and milk, leather and labor, chariot and cavalry. It mocks sacred bulls, cow goddesses, and the pageantry of animal ceremony. Egypt's strength breathes shallow, and across the line, Israel's animals stand. The contrast grows louder. The empire's pulse slows. Then ash becomes dust, and dust becomes sores. Boils bloom on skin. People wince when they move. Animals suffer too. Magicians, once the stage masters of wonder, cannot even present themselves. Plague 6 targets health, the workforce, the priesthood, and the myth that Egypt's gods heal those they favor. Pain stops production, ritual stops cold, and the personal becomes political. When your body burns, your loyalties can shift. The elites, every empire's shield, are now pierced from within. The sky darkens, but not like a gentle storm. Thunder splits, hailstones crash with fire in their wake, crops snap under white fists of ice, trees splinter. Linen threads, woven from flax, are torn at the source. Barley, the poor man's staple, is shredded in the field. Yet another twist. Warnings go out ahead of the storm. Some among the officials listen and bring their servants and animals inside. Others shrug and pay the price. Plague 7 targets agriculture, industry, and infrastructure. It speaks to both the sky and the ground. It shakes the gods of air and moisture and storms. And it tests obedience with a simple measure. Will you respond to a clear warning, even if it comes from the mouth of a man you once mocked? The wind shifts. From the east come locusts, a green-black tide that lands like rain and eats like fire. What the hail spared, the locusts erase. Vines stripped, stalks chewed to nubs, the land looks shaved. And a new panic rises. Not the panic of a single day's drama, but the cold calculation of tomorrow's hunger. Plague 8 targets food security. It targets price and ration and riot. It pulls the curtain back on an empire that boasted of granaries and now stares into bare storage. Inside the palace, voices change. Advisors beg the king to listen. The new fear is not just God. The new fear is the people. Then the sun goes out. Not an eclipse that passes, not a cloud that moves, but a darkness that weighs on the skin. It is thick. It is total. Lamps are lit, but light seems to crumble at the edges. People stay where they are, unable or unwilling to move. Yet another line. Where Israel dwells, there is light. Plague 9 targets the symbol of symbols. It strikes the sun and the sovereign who claims its favor. It says without a whisper that creation itself chooses its master. Morning belongs to someone Egypt does not know. And when the most powerful symbol goes dim, the empire's self-portrait dissolves. What can a nation be when its god of sight goes blind? There is one more step, one more lock on the chain. It will not be lifted by frogs or hail or darkness. Midnight comes. In every Egyptian house the firstborn dies. In the palace the heir. In farms the child. In prisons the captive. This is not random cruelty. It is a reversal of a decree that once targeted Hebrew sons. It is judgment that touches dynasty, future, pride, and the claim that the king is a god whose bloodline is shielded by heaven. But at Hebrew doors a different sight appears. Blood brushed on wood. Inside, families eat a meal in haste, ready to leave. The point is as sharp as the knife that cut the lamb. Mercy is offered, but it is not generic. It is marked. It is trusted. It is taken. Plague 10 targets the engine of oppression itself. The power to define who lives and who dies, who rises and who serves. And with a cry that shakes the court, Egypt finally yields. Now stand back and look at the sequence. The Nile bleeds, frogs invade, dust stings, swarms separate, herds fall, skin burns, hail shatters, locusts erase, darkness smothers, firstborn die. This is escalation with intelligence. It moves from resource to nuisance, from irritation to pain to economic collapse, from collapse to cosmic eclipse, and from eclipse to the cradle of power. It's not chaos, it's a ladder. Each rung exposes a different idol, and each idol proves silent. What did the first plague target? It targeted the bloodstream of Egypt's economy, and the gods who were said to pulse it. What did the second target? The private spaces, the kitchens and beds that feel safe, and the goddess who promised life and fertility. What did the third target? Ritual purity, the confidence of the priesthood, and the illusion that cleanliness can be engineered without submission. What did the fourth target? The empire's claim to define reality for everyone, because now God draws his own borders. What did the fifth target? Wealth and hooves and horsepower, and the sacred animals that paraded imperial strength. What did the sixth target? Health, labor, and the credibility of healers who cannot heal themselves. What did the seventh target? Crops and commerce. Yes, but also the test of heeding a warning when it comes from outside your system. What did the eighth target? Food tomorrow, not just comfort today, and with it the stability of homes and markets. What did the ninth target? The crown jewel, the sun, and the theology that linked Pharaoh to the sky. What did the 10th target? The future of oppression, the lineage that keeps a system alive. There's another pattern here. Again and again, a distinction is made. Goshen spared, Hebrew herds stand, Hebrew homes shine. It is selective judgment, not indiscriminate wrath. Precision matters. The God of the Hebrews is not merely strong. He is specific. He can target, he can shield, he can warn. He can distinguish between a palace that enslaves and a household that trusts. This story also plays at the level of personal conscience. At several points, officials listen and live. Farmers bring in their cattle when warned. Servants beg the king to relent when famine looms. Choice meets consequence. Pride meets invitation. Even in judgment, there are doors to step through. But one door matters most, and it is painted in red. That night, in houses nobody had heard of, families sat under the sign of substitution. Something innocent died so someone guilty could live. They ate in travel clothes. They gripped walking sticks. They faced a future no longer defined by their master's voice. That is not only ancient history. It is a pattern of rescue that echoes forward. So what do we do with this? We look at the things we call ultimate. We look at our own Nile, whatever we count on to flow without fail. We look at our icons, our experts, our rituals. We ask which part of our life we think we control because we named it, trained it, or insured it. And we remember how quickly an idol turns on us. A symbol of fertility can become a plague in the bed. A ground that felt solid can rise up as dust that stings the eyes. A sun that seemed eternal can flick off like a lamp. The message isn't simply that power exists above us. The message is that mercy keeps knocking while judgment escalates. The difference is not who is strong enough. The difference is who will listen. There's a detail many people rush past. Before several plagues, there's a warning. Sometimes it is ignored. Sometimes it is heeded. Today, warnings still come to us in quiet ways. In the counsel we resist, in the rest we refuse, in the truth we avoid because we think it will cost us too much to accept. The plagues do not want applause. They want repentance. They want alignment with reality, not with empire. And there is a second detail. After the final plague, there is not only release, there is a journey. Freedom is not a door that swings open and you are home. Freedom is a path through wilderness, a new kind of dependence, a new way to eat, a new way to stop, a new way to sing. Egypt's gods fall in one night. Egypt's habits fall more slowly inside the people who leave. What each plague targets in Egypt, a later lesson must target inside Israel. That's how deep rescue goes. If this walkthrough opened something for you, take a second and reflect. Which plague's target surprised you most? Was it the river that bled confidence away? The darkness that made the empire face its limits? The final blow at the bloodline? Or was it the quiet distinctions, light in one place, darkness in another, that made you rethink what justice looks like? If you found this helpful, like this video so more people see it. Subscribe for more deep dives that make ancient stories feel close and alive. And in the comments, tell me which lifeline in our world you think we treat like a god. Money, technology, status, reputation, and what it might look like if that lifeline were exposed for what it really is. In the next episode, we'll trace what Egypt never recovered after the Red Sea, and how a newly freed people learned slowly, painfully, beautifully, to live without chains.